Welcome into Walking On, brought to you by Venezia's Pizzeria. I'm Jordan Ham alongside Jordan Spurgeon. And Jordan, we just wrapped up the ASU spring game. Just in terms of the spring session as a whole, the spring game, what's your big takeaway for the first spring with Kenny Dillingham?
Well, first off, the energy with Kenny Dillingham is something that we haven't seen in a long time in this Arizona State Sun Devil program. That is going to go a long way. Obviously, wins in the fall are going to be what really cement that, and maybe then you would start getting a larger following in the spring at a spring game and things like that. But I think the energy is there. I can see a commitment to really dialing in and making sure that guys are playing football the right way, showing up on time, holding each other accountable. That's something that's been lacking in previous years.
I liken it back to Jed Fish's first offseason. Felt like they did everything right. Now, the wins didn't quite come, but they were able to build a buzz. They were able to bring in some really good players. They were able to kind of start laying that foundation. When he took over, he said basically their sophomore class was pretty much depleted. And so a big part of that was building up the roster. Now you're seeing some of that come onto the field. There are some good pieces. The thing that jumps out to me the most is think to last spring and the pass catchers. And it was maybe Elijah Badger could be a quality wide receiver. Maybe they might have a tight end that they're going to utilize a lot. Messiah Swinson was getting a lot of buzz at that time. This year, you have Elijah Badger, you have Xavier Gilroy, you have Jalen Conyers, you have so many guys that can fill those roles, so much to the point that Javen Jacobs moved from wide receiver to more of a running back role, kind of hybrid role. And then you also have those running backs that can also catch the ball. So whoever the quarterback is, if I had to guess right now, it's probably Trenton Bourguet. If the season was starting tomorrow, I would say it's Trenton Bourguet. He has so many options now that they didn't necessarily have at this time a year ago.
We know the running game has been phenomenal for ASU over the last few seasons, but Scadabo's that power back, 5'10", over 200 pounds, and Javen is fast, he's elusive, he can come in pass-catching situations, and he's put on some size as well. He can take a beating as well. So this is going to be a really exciting backfield along with all those pass catchers. So like you said, whether it's Trenton Bourguet, whether it's Drew Pine, whether it's Jaden Rashada at some point, whoever the quarterback is, they're going to have plenty of weapons to throw to.
And you also have DeCarlos Brooks, Tevin White. Guys, I think as you get a fully healthy backfield, this isn't going to be kind of what it's looked like the past couple of years where Rashad White was the guy, where X-Valade was the guy. I get the feeling that it's going to be 3 or 4 guys that are getting chunks at a time. You can bring them in and out, and then you can utilize that pass game. Areas where there are the most questions on this ASU roster moving forward, where do you feel like that may be?
I think the most questions right now are going to be on the offensive line. I mean, we talk about the quarterback competition and how maybe no one's truly separated themselves. And I think one thing that's going to be important is whoever can get the ball out fast. It's not a knock on the offensive line, but it doesn't seem like this unit has really come together yet. A lot of sacks in the spring game, a lot of sacks throughout spring. So I think the cohesion, maybe moving guys around, maybe switching out some players, could be something that happens. Maybe it's just more coaching with the offensive line staff that just needs to be hammered in, once they get to the fall and really get dialed in. But I think right now in the trenches, the offensive line seems to be the point on the team that might have some cause for concern.
And I feel like that naturally kind of happens in the preseason, and also these injuries that a lot of them have happened along the offensive line. When you think of Ben Coleman, Joey Ramos was out for a little bit. So that means that there's a lot of juggling around. Bram Walden, was in and out of camp in the spring. It's such a strange domino effect. When you have a fully healthy group, it's also then, okay, where do you put them all? And they didn't really get that chance to do that. So I'm sure Kenny Dillingham is hopeful that moving forward, this group can get healthy. Ben Coleman's going to be out for a while, but the rest of this group can get really healthy, and they can really get those defined roles. Because he said successful teams need 7-8 offensive linemen, so that might be something that they address in the portal as well. So plenty of questions still to go for this ASU team, but I feel like we got some answered this spring and starting to see the shape of what this team will look like in the fall. That'll do it for this edition of Walking On, brought to you by Venezia's Pizzeria from Tempe. He's Jordan Spurgeon. I'm Jordan Ham, and for all of your college football coverage, make sure to keep it here to Sports 360 AZ.